Hello and welcome to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. It's week 9 of the Elite League season. We've got plenty of thrills and spills to get through in the next hour. Here's what's coming up. The Cardiff Devils get the boost of an EIHL just in time for their trip to Braehead. The Five Flyers snap a 5-game losing spell. And those Coventry Blaze are just up to no good again. Just won't break, will it, Hershey? Just won't break. Pretty good job as well. He'd have probably got a fine, wouldn't he, if he had done that. Hello and welcome to the show. You'll see I'm joined by the Sheffield Steelers head coach Ryan Finnerty, proudly showing off his moustache for the month of Movember, as many Elite League players and coaches are, of course, all supporting some very worthwhile testicular charities as well. And if you are wearing your moustache this month, good luck to you all. It's a bit of fun, but it's in aid of a worthwhile charity.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and like you said, it's for a worthy cause, so, you know, it makes for a great month.
It does indeed. Right, whilst we've got Ryan here, we'll talk about something that happened not last week, but the week before, Ryan, and that was the shenanigans that went on in the Big Blue Tent at Cardiff. Last week's show, we just managed to get in the suspensions that Simon Kirkham and the Elite League Board gave. When you heard about what happened down there and the 11-0 suspensions for that after the game incident, what were your original thoughts?
Yeah, I think I think Coventry were probably lucky not to have a player or two suspended. I know Cardiff feel they were hard done by, and like I said, it's a tough call. And Simon Kirkham, he's got to make those calls, and it was, like I said, it's a tough call to make. But I feel Coventry probably got off lucky. Before
we got to that 11-0 suspension situation, there was an incident that saw Max Brabia pick up a match penalty and a 5-game suspension. We'll take a look at that first on the screen just behind us. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's tough to see what happened there. By Max's reaction, you're probably thinking it was more than just a trip that they gave on the play. So, Max, he's a pretty cool, level-headed guy, and for him to react like that, you got to think something severe had to have happened.
This is the post-game handshakes, and again, Olsen getting involved.
Yeah, you can't see what happened at the bench there between him and Franny, but Didi Amidi comes in, and then
the Edgener incident there with Max coming back on. Awkward to talk. It's Edgener who was picking gloves up.
I don't know if you send your other tough guy to pick up gloves, but it's an unfortunate incident. Obviously, after 2 games, it's pretty heated, and Cardiff, they don't lose at home, and nobody takes well to losing. Emotions overspilled, and that's what happened.
Easy to speak with hindsight after the event. But Didi Amiti gets the suspensions for coming back out of the dressing room, and so did Big Max. But if Olsen had been taken to the dressing room after the first fight, a lot of that wouldn't have happened with the second fight and then the off-ice incident that happened as well. There was 4 officials out on the ice for that game.
Yeah, and I think that needs addressing. There's 4 officials on the ice, and they take Didi Amiti off the ice, and they leave Olsen on the ice, and it's a potential bench-clearing brawl at that point. And you take, Carver's big weapon off the ice and leave Olsen. It's not right. He should have never been in that situation. He should have been escorted off the ice by one of the linesmen. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
Okay, let's talk a bit about hockey then. And last week's hockey, plenty of goals this week to get through. And we'll start off up in Braehead, where the depleted Cardiff Devils were in town. They had a new player as well, ex-EIHLer, Paul Bissonnette. Let's see how they got on.
64 shots on goal in this game, and 12 of them were goals. Sit back and enjoy this one. First goal of the night, McRae, right-hand side. And what a start for Paul Bissonnette, the NHL superstar, scoring 72 seconds into his Cardiff debut. Wow, that is some way to make a start in the UK. So 1-0 Cardiff at that stage, but it was 1-1. A rebound on the doorstep. Bobby Chamont with his 8th goal of the season. So Braehead were level, and quickly as well, because that goal came at 1:39, so just 27 seconds after Cardiff had gone ahead. But then at 6:11, Bissonnette gets an assist, Davis with the other, a tip-in for McKenzie. It's 2-1 Cardiff, and it got even better. Farmer, slow to react, and it's 3-1. Stuart McRae, an 8th of the season for him, and 9:31 gone in the game. It is 3-1 to the Cardiff Devils. It became 4-1, and McRae is getting good at short-handed goals. This is 3rd of the season. Comes away from the defenseman. The Cardiff Devils 4, the Braehead Clan 1 in the Braehead Arena. Braehead needed to respond in the second period. This is where they started to get a bit of a stranglehold on the game and get back into it. First of all, Goldie from right side. Farmer with the setup, making amends for his early mistake. So that's 4-2. We're not even at the halfway point of the game. Now, into the offensive zone come Braehead. What a finish from player coach Kostanovic, Galbraith and Miller with the assist. Closing in on the halfway point now. It is 4-3. Are you keeping up with this game? Back the other way. Cardiff again. Scrappy rebound this one, but they all count. Davis, his third of the year. 5-3 now. That was the scoreline at the end of 2 periods. So going into the third, Braehead had a bit of an uphill struggle. But give the puck to Galbraith. He scores a goal. That's 5-4. It's a 1-goal game. 1:19 into that period 3. We now see the Braehead clan having their best spell of the game. Into the offensive zone they come once more, this time with Ash Goldie. The shot comes in, it's saved by Azur. There's a couple of players right on the doorstep. It's Goldie with his 7th. Our old friend in front of us is thrilled. So's the whole of the Braehead arena. It's 5-5. From the face-off, Hill. Davis won the face-off and Phil Hill scores a reaction, a quick reaction goal. Time of that one, 53-41. So Devils back in front, and then into an empty net. Faulkner scores his 17th goal of the season, so it is the clan who end empty-handed, and the Devils take the points. Braehead 5, Cardiff 7.
What a great win for Gerard Adams and his team, a depleted Cardiff team going to Glasgow as well, and especially because they were short-handed in terms of personnel. I think G would have been delighted with that win.
Yeah, it's always tough to go to Braehead and come out with 2 points, and you know they went down there with a depleted lineup and managed to squeak out some points and played well. So you know G will be happy. I know his team will be excited about that.
They had an extra big character on the bus going up there as well, didn't they, in Paul Bissonnette? He seems a character. We all know about his Twitter account and how popular he is off the ice, but he'll help the Cardiff Devils on the ice as well, won't he?
Yeah, you bring in a guy of that quality, he's going to spark the team, and like I said, you know, it's a good opportunity for him probably to come over and play, and he probably didn't think himself he'd be scoring 70 seconds into a game, but you know, it'll boost the guys. We've seen it with Sestito on our team. It makes guys better around him, makes guys want to perform better around, and it's only going to be all positives for Cardiff.
Let's take a quick look at the goal scored by Bissonnette. As you say, just 70 seconds in. How did you see this one?
Yeah, it's a nice play from McRae there, centering that puck, and you know, it said he went to the net, and puck bounces out, and good things happen when you drive the net. So he's playing defense there, so he's pinching in. So it's a good play. Obviously, a great play by Macker, and you know, probably good for him to get on the score sheet that early.
It was indeed. Time to head over to the Skydome Arena in Coventry for the first of 2 games between the Blaze and the Belfast Giants last weekend. Chris Ellis will talk you through it.
This was the first of 2 back-to-back matches between the sides at the Skydome. In fact, the first time they'd met all season. Giveaway in the Blaze defence saw the first goal of the night. A rasping shot from Clark, assists to Stewart and Peacock, and after a scoreless first period, in fact at the midway point there'd been no goals, and at 30:52 it was 1-0 Belfast. NHLer Beleski down the right-hand side, setting up Cameron. It is now 1-1. 34:53 on the clock. The Blaze are level in the Skydome, and then they had to defend a breakaway, and this was it. The Blaze were on the back foot and coming forward. Toe and Sandrock with the assist there. The shot is charged down, but the rebound by Fournier, the shot himself, jumps on the rebound, so it's 2-1, 35:50. And the Coventry Blaze behind in their own barn. It got worse for them. 3 minutes later, a break there. Sweet break, and Fournier scores again, his second in 3 minutes. It's 3-1 to the Belfast Giants. Going into the third period, the Coventry Blaze had an uphill struggle, but they've been known as the comeback kings this season, so there was no reason to suggest that they couldn't do it again. First goal there, Brad Leib scores. So at 41:18 on the power play, it becomes a 1-goal game. And then Coventry get the puck and go right-hand side. Breaking at speed is Guthrie. He just is held up on the wall. Cameron there too. And then the assists on this goal go to Cameron and Beleski. The final touch by Shute. So it's 3-3. And the Coventry Blaze have come back and level. I said things got better. Well, look at this. They're in dreamland, the Blaze. They're now leading 4-3. Face-off win from Greg Leib and his brother scores the goal, a second of the night. Now Belfast have to come back into the game, and they do that by a power play goal. Peacock and Sandrock with the assist here, and the shot is deflected in. Mason had the empty net. You can tell he's laughing about that one. The empty net to shoot at. He didn't get it on target, but it was deflected in on the way to the goal. So 4-4 going to overtime. It's loose behind the net. Who can get there first? It's on the line, and it's a hat-trick for Brad Leib. Greg Leib had the shot, but his brother was the man to force it over the line. Coventry 5, Belfast 4.
A very important hat-trick there then for Brad Leib as the Coventry Blaze pick up 2 points. Belfast picked up one, rather fortuitously picked up one as well. That Mason shot to get the equalising goal gave Belfast a very important point.
Yeah, like you said, we don't like the 3-point games, and you know, when things are going well for your team, you score goals like that, the way Mason put that in. But you know, we've done that, and then Nottingham have done that, and that's the way it goes.
Talk to us about that game. It looked like Belfast had the upper hand at the start of the second period. They went 3-1 up, but then bang, 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 3 quick goals from Coventry put them ahead.
Yeah, we've witnessed Coventry. They never give up. They never quit, and they'll keep coming at you despite the score. And you know, Brad Leib with a hat-trick, you need your best players in the top games to be performing, and that's what they got. Right
on cue. They've queued up Brad Leib's hat-trick as well. Let's take us through it. His first one, just a tip.
Yeah, just going to the net, and you know, good things happen. You put pucks to the net, and you got a stick on it.
And then the second one, the go-ahead goal. Nice finish.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. You know, tough for goalies to save there, and like I said, off the post and in, it's tough for Murph to have that.
And then the all-important one, the game winner.
That's just a good battle, net front battle, and you get yourself to the net and score good goals to win.
Yeah. How do you see the Coventry Blaze now? They're obviously going to be without edge, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But have the Coventry Blaze got enough to challenge right at the top of the conference and at the Elite League?
I think so. You know, I think they're a scary team. You're looking up and down their lineup. They got some potent scorers on their team. They come at you. They play physical. They're tough. You know, and every time you play them, you know you're in for a battle, and like we've seen, they're not an easy team to play.
Well, we'll see round 2 of that battle later on in the show. Time for a break now, but when we come back, we've got the Edinburgh Derby as the Five Flyers take on the Edinburgh Capitals. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Time for Gardner Conference action now, the Battle of Edinburgh, as the Capitals travel to Kirkcaldy to take on Todd Dutium and the Five Flyers. Chris Ellis.
2 out-of-form sides met at the Fife Arena. The Flyers went into this one on the back of 6 straight defeats. Edinburgh not much better, 1 win in their last 9. A chance in the first period for the Flyers, 13 shots on goal between the two in that opening period, and some needle as well, just for good measure, just to get things a little bit feisty. But the Flyers always looked like the most likely to score, and it was no surprise when they came racing forward right-hand side. Jason Pitton cutting inside, and that one takes a bobble in front of the netminder. So 1-0 Flyers this, now in the second period, 8:14 gone. In that second period, there was plenty of chances, 13-4 actually. They were outshot, the Caps, by the Flyers. And now in this period 3, it was 14-3, the shots on goal. A chance there left side for Jeff Keister. And then right side, it was Chris Wams. But Hardlowski was equal to it on both occasions. And were the Flyers going to rue missed chances as the game got deeper into the third period? Well, they're coming forward once more, but this is a lovely goal. Carrevew and Horn, and it is Hogg in front of the net, makes the move on the netminder, and 11th of the year for him. It is 2-0. Is it game, set and match? Will Edinburgh come back? Hartman and Yarrolin, how often do they combine? They do here. Final touch from Single, but that was the end of the scoring. In the Scottish Derby, it finished Flyers 2, Edinburgh 1.
Always good to win your local derbies, and the Five Flyers coming out on top against the Edinburgh Capitals. It's, well, as you rightly know, from a few weeks ago, a tough place to go, Kirkcaldy.
Yeah, they come at you hard. You know, they got a good record at home. They're hard to play against in there, and like I said, we've been in the tough fights even last year. And this year obviously they stole one from us.
Okay, I know one player that impresses you at Fife is Haynes.
Yeah, he creates a lot. He works hard. He's a smaller guy. He's a centerman, but every time he's on the puck, something seems to happen, and he's a player that obviously you got to keep your eye on when you're playing against him.
Well, whilst Fife and Edinburgh were battling it out, Ryan and his Sheffield Steelers team were up in Dundee against a team that hadn't lost at home in 7 games in regulation. Chris Ellis will talk you through it.
Dundee had the best home record in the Elite League going into this one. The Sheffield Steelers were in town trying to do something about it. Fatter there from left side, and then Legree combines with Shields and Tate, and it's Legree who positions himself in front of netminder Nick Riopel to score the first goal of the game. 12:35 gone, 1-0 Sheffield. But 2 minutes later, Ryan down the right-hand side, and it's Wirral and Greg Moore combining. And there's Ryan all alone to the right of the net. We're level. A 1-1 hockey game, 14 minutes and 39 seconds gone. Then the goal scorer for Dundee gets involved with Ashley Tate, and the two of them, well, they just really start a wrestling match here. Nothing more than that. Wirral's over there now as well. He's just inquiring of everyone's welfare. And then Drew Fatter, he gets involved. He really doesn't want anyone else close, does he? And pushes Bowen out the way. That's all it was, though, wrestling and push and shove. And we were back underway pretty quickly. 1-1 then at this stage. And still in the first period here, we see Sheffield breaking away. Look how strong EIHL Tom Sestito is. A good finish on the netminder. 2-1 then to the visitors. And he celebrates in front of both benches. Brave move, that one. So 2-1 at this stage. And now defence is turned to attack by the Steelers. Sestito involved again. Right-hand side, cuts inside. The final touch from Limpright early in period 2. It's 3-1 to the Sheffield Steelers. What were Dundee made of? Well, left-hand side, they had it with Mac Baxter, and this is good movement by them. Behind the net, and then to the left-hand side again, Mike Wirral heavily involved, and the shot there from the high slot, Ryanen, a 9th of the year for him, a 2nd of the night. Look at this finish from behind the net there, over the shoulder. It is a 1-goal game, and the Dundee Stars are back in the game. Now to the third period, just over 11 minutes remaining. Into the offensive zone once more come the Stars. They put 10 shots on net in the third period, and right on the doorstep is Ryanen for his hat-trick. 48-53, we're level at 3-3. De Caro beat him for a 3rd time in the game, and we're going to overtime. That was enough to take us to the extra period, and the Steelers coming forward. Drew Fatter heavily involved in this move into the offensive zone. Has the shot there, goes behind the net. It's picked up behind that net by Tate for Tyler Michel. He finishes in style, and 1 minute 54 into the extra period, the Steelers grab the extra point. Final score, Dundee 3, Sheffield 4.
A big win for the Sheffield Steelers, another point for the Dundee Stars in their campaign, and it's a tough place to go. It's an incredible home record the Stars have got, isn't it?
Yeah, that line of Ryan and Bagron and Wirral, every time they touched the puck across that red line, they were dangerous, and it seemed like every time they entered our zone, it was in the back of our net. It
looked like you got the game under control at 3-1. What changed?
Yeah, I was frustrated. At 3-1, I thought we had a chance to put the game away, and we let them come back in. Our D-zone coverage fell asleep, and those are 3 skilled players, and you give them some time on the puck like that, and they're going to put it in the back of your net. I
know, speaking with Tyler Michel after the game, he'd been dry for a while, hadn't he? It was good that he got on the board, and a very important goal.
Yeah, it's good for Ty to get that overtime goal. He, like you said, he hasn't been putting them in lately, so hopefully that kick starts him going forward.
One of the big pluses for the Dundee Stars this year has been the form of Ryan, hasn't it? He showed some good form in Nottingham, but this year he's kind of almost been the lead act. Let's take a look at his hat-trick, and perhaps you can talk us through the 3 goals.
Yeah, this one here, it's a good spot. It's a nice play from their D-man there back to him, and he's got an empty net to put it in. So.
And the second one?
Probably a bit lucky. I think Johnny was screened. It took a deflection on the way in, but like you said, you get pucks to the net and good things happen.
I would imagine you wouldn't have been best pleased. Actually, we'll see that second one again. But this one, static defence from your boys.
Yeah, we fall asleep here, and everybody's standing still watching the puck, and like I said, we can't be giving up goals like that. But You know, like I said, they moved the puck around well, and a nice play back to Ryan in the slot there and empty net again.
It's amazing though, isn't it? He's gone from a big part player, if you like, with the Panthers, now to the star of the show in Dundee. Some players don't accept that role or don't like that role, but he seems to have taken it with open arms.
Yeah, you know, he's a go-to guy, and some guys, you know, thrive in that spot, and he's definitely one of them. He's playing on that line, and that line moves the puck extremely well. You know, World's the same guy in Braehead. He was just kind of one of the guys there, and this year he's a go-to guy in Dundee. And like I said, that's probably the best line we've seen, most offensive line we've seen this year.
Right. Okay, time for another break. When we come back, we're going to Edinburgh. Yes, we've got footage from Edinburgh, and it's against the Cardiff Devils, and what a game that was too. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Well, before the break, we saw how the Dundee Stars got on against the Sheffield Steelers, so why not stay in Scotland and head across to the Murrayfield Ice Rink, where the Edinburgh Capitals were taking on that old depleted side, the Cardiff Devils.
A second game of a Scottish doubleheader weekend for the Cardiff Devils. They moved from Braehead to Edinburgh, and they went on the penalty kill after 48 seconds. Harding in the box for hooking, and the home side took advantage. Yarling feeding Hartman. 1-0 Edinburgh then. 1 minute and 49 seconds gone. Things got better and better for Edinburgh. Yarling again was the man with the assist here, and at 4:58, Single is the man who gets the final touch to that scramble. It is 2-0, and the home side are absolutely thrilled. In fact, they were outshot in the first period, 11-7, but they were 2-0 ahead. Second period action now. Chance in front of net for Mac Faulkner. He can't score. The scoreline stays at 2-0 at this stage. Surely, somewhere, the Cardiff Devils had to get something. They do, and Bissonnette, the EIHL, is fed by Faulkner. He scored on his debut in Braehead. He now has goal number 2 of his Cardiff career. So that's 2-1 and a 1-goal game. But into the third, and Edinburgh, well, they kept on coming. They have some good chances. Here's one right in front of the net. They can't get through there, but things just got better for them with the chances they created. Surely they were going to find a way through. And on the power play, here they are patient. Hartman and Dobrin are the men at the heart of this move. And when the puck comes off the backboards, it is Yarling, his 12th of the year. He's assisted on 2 of them. He's now scored. So that is 3-1. Devils need an immediate response, and they get it within 5 minutes. Power play for them this time. Faulkner and Smith with the assist, and Blight with a 6th goal of the season. So we see 3-2, and that's the way it stays going into the final minute. Unsurprisingly, Phil Azur, well, the netminder is pulled, and the assist is Single and Zembergs, and Yarling isn't going to miss into an empty net. Second of the night for him, and a final score. Edinburgh 4, Cardiff 2.
Huge win then for the Edinburgh Capitals, and Ryan, did it catch up on the Cardiff Devils? They'd had the night before up in Scotland, and those bodies short, it looked like it showed to me.
Yeah, I'm sure G wouldn't be too impressed with that loss, but you know, they're, like you said, they're so depleted on bodies, and I'm sure fatigue caught up to them there.
Give credit to Edinburgh though. They have, we talk about it all the time, don't we, Yarling and Hartman, who keep on scoring, but they've not won a huge amount of games, but they've kept a lot of games very tight, and that rink in Murrayfield is a tough barn to go and play, so they deserve credit as well.
Yeah, they're in every game. You know, Coventry went out there, beat them 1-0. You're not seeing them get blown out too often, and like I said, they're a dangerous team with players like Hartman and Yarling. They can score. You know, they can transition well and score, and they can make it a long night. So you got to be prepared to play them. Yeah,
Bissonnette got his 2nd goal as well. Nice finish. It looks like he settled in very well.
Yeah, you know, 2-2, and you know, I think he'll be a good acquisition for that team.
Right, always good then to see the Edinburgh Capitals. Great to have their footage back on the show. Let's move on now to, well, one of the biggest rivalries in the Elite League, the Sheffield Steelers and the Nottingham Panthers. This time in Challenge Cup action. Both teams had already qualified. Now they were just battling it out for the top spot. Chris Ellis.
If you look at Challenge Cup Group B, nothing really to play for. These two sides have qualified, just jostling for position. But try telling Sheffield and Nottingham there's nothing to play for. What a start, though, for Ashley Tate. That is a terrific finish. Giveaway by the Panthers by Benedict, and 8:28 gone. Look at the way the stick just bends, and a lovely finish over the shoulder of Nottingham Panthers netminder, Craig Kowalski. Nottingham got back into the game inside the first period. In fact, there was just 70 seconds to go in period one. Lakovic with the assist, and Stewart's 4th goal of the season. So we're all square after one period. Into period two, and Nottingham looked the stronger side. Ling's pass there. Benedict has a couple of attempts in front of net. He puts Nottingham ahead. 23:04 gone in the game. You'll see here, tries to get the redirect, but it comes off to Caro. And there he is, Benedict, to get a goal, his 3rd of the season. Those Nottingham fans were celebrating. But in period two, the Sheffield Steelers mounted a comeback. First of all, they come right-hand side. It's strong movement of the puck behind the net. They keep the puck well, do the Steelers. And when Stevenson shoots, Gertson gets the final touch in that melee. Number of players falling over, just throwing their bodies on the line from both sides. So that's 2-2 at 5:43 period two. You'll see here, traffic in front of the net, perfect way to get a goal, all sorts of players falling over. And it is 2-2 game. So 5:43, and then 34 seconds later, defence to attack. Nottingham coming forward. But boom, in one breakaway, it's Michel setting up Hewitt, a 2nd of the year for him, for the British international. He is thrilled with that one. The Sheffield Arena is happy because the Steelers are now leading by 3-2. You watch Michel coming here. Panthers think they've got him tracked, but there is Hewitt, who's in acres of room, and the Steelers fans are now celebrating, and they have their noses in front. Nottingham need to get back into the game, and they do so with their NHL player, Anthony Stewart, his 2nd goal of the game. Ling and Weaver get those assists. So we're tied at 3-3 in period 3 in a Challenge Cup Group B game. Both sides have good records so far. 4 wins out of 4 for the Sheffield Steelers. 3 wins in 5 for Nottingham going into this one. Sestito there, going around Werner, drawing the penalty. And when you watch the replay, what a great move. Great stick handling skills from Tom Sestito to draw the penalty. So 3-3. We're going to overtime. We're going to the extra period. Don't forget now, overtime and penalties in Challenge Cup games this season. Nottingham coming forward at one end, but as has been the case this season, and particularly this game, the break is good for the Steelers. A quick break for them, and Sestito scores. You might ask yourself, how does that one go in? He's credited with the game-winning goal, but you'll see how unlucky Nottingham were on these replays. Delight then for the home fans, for the home side, but you can see some deflections there, but this replay shows it much better. The shot comes in, Beckett gets a deflection, then the pad of Kowalski, and then off the body of Beckett and into the back of the net. But they all count, and it's Sestito's goal. The final score in the local derby at the Motorpoint Arena. Sheffield 4, Nottingham 3.
Well, I don't know who writes the scripts for Tom Sestito, but they're very good, aren't they? And he gets the game winner and the hero again on a big night.
Yeah, you know, we're taking the Challenge Cup seriously this year, and like I said, we want to progress and finish in the top seed. And you know, an overtime win in that game, Big Tom steps up and scores the overtime goal. It was massive for us. Long
trip back from Dundee, but you had to come from behind as well. So showed character in a pretty meaningless game in terms of the cup.
Yeah, you know, that first period, I thought, other than Ash's goal, they were all over us. We hardly got out of our end. They outworked us, they outplayed us, and I was a bit worried that we were too fatigued. And like I said, the guys came back, showed a lot of character in that second period. And it helps when you score 2 quick goals.
Ashley Tate was out for so much of last season, and I guess it was a concern during the summer how he would respond from that injury. He's had a great start to the year, hasn't he? Yeah,
you know, he's been working extremely hard. Last few games, he's probably been our hardest working guy. He's playing on line with Legui there and Shieldsy now, and you know, I think things are connecting there well. And the thing with Ash, he just works so hard. He's relentless on the forecheck. He plays in all 3 zones, and you know, he's a great asset for us.
Okay, let's take a look at that Ashley Tate goal and Sestito's winner as well. It's a super finish. We're going to see it in super slow-mo, but he picks his spot on Kowalski.
Yeah, you know, not a whole lot of room left there. He puts it right under the bar, and you know, Kowalski may have wanted that one back, but it was a great shot.
And then just talk us through this one. Your feelings, how you saw it on the bench?
It looks like Beck's tried to score a few times here, and you know, it's good to be lucky, and you know, I think we were a little bit fortunate there, but we'll take it.
Well, the Sheffield Steelers' victory over the Nottingham Panthers meant that they now top their Challenge Cup group. So let's take a look at the Challenge Cup group, see how it's all panning out, because of course there was another big movement in the week with the Hull Stingrays beating the Cardiff Devils in the big blue tent. Braehead, Belfast, Dundee and Fife seem to have it wrapped up in Group A. Sheffield, Coventry, Nottingham and the Hull Stingrays. Was that a surprise for you, Hull beating Cardiff to take that fourth spot in Group B?
I was surprised. I thought Cardiff would have come out and dominated that game, but you got to give credit to Klutz and his men. They battled in a tough rink, and you know, they got the points they needed.
I guess now it's just a matter of positioning yourself, and from a Sheffield point of view, I would guess you want to finish as high up as possible because you're seeding and your rankings would be higher in the progression rounds.
Yeah, exactly. You want to finish at the top of the group, and then in the crossover stage, give yourselves potentially a bit of a weaker opponent, but you know, at the end of the day, every game, you got to take every game seriously, and it doesn't matter who you're playing or what's at stake, and that's what we're trying to drive here.
Okay, time for a break now. When we come back, the Battle of Coventry. How many times have we said that this year? Well, this one's a real cracker. You don't want to go anywhere. Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. We're going to head up to Hull, and as I touched on before the break, the Stingrays had a great week leading into this game. They'd beaten out the Cardiff Devils to make the progression rounds of the Challenge Cup for the first time. Could they take that form into Gardner Conference action? Well, the Five Flyers were in town. What happened, Chris?
Important game in the Gardner Conference, this one. The Flyers, fresh from their first win in 7 matches against the Edinburgh Cats on Saturday night. But it was the Hull Stingrays who dominated much of the opening part of the game. Here they have chances in front of the net. Silverthorne and Oslins going close towards the net. But the game and scoreline stays at 0-0. Coming forward once more, but this is an unfortunate moment. Down goes Kale Tankner, and he is going to be out of action now for 6 to 8 weeks with a shoulder injury. It was the visitors who scored first. Face-off win there from Danny Stewart, and Keister scoring from left-hand side. So 1-0 Five Flyers at 32-23. At the other end, though, nice move. Davis and Hand assisting. Osman right-hand side with that goal. And a little over 2 minutes after the visitors went ahead, it was a 1-1 scoreline. So to period 3, how crucial would the goals be in this period? First of all, it's a goal for Oslins, an 11th of the year, just in front, a good move in front of the netminder. Now the Stingrays coming forward once more. Pace from Tendler. This is what sets the goal up for Cloutier, the player coach. Short-handed as well, a 3rd of the year for Cloutier. 3-1 and some breathing space for the Hull Stingrays. But the Flyers, as I said, got a great result on Saturday. They were still buoyed by that. Pitton pulled one back. That made it a 1-goal game, but that's the way it stayed. Hull 3, 5-2.
Another important victory for Sylvain Cloutier and his team, and they're getting it together in Hull, aren't they?
Yeah, again, that's a tough place to go to win, and Klutz has got those guys playing hard, and you know, when they come at you, they're a very good hockey club. One
player that I enjoy watching every week, I've seen him on the highlights, is that Oslins, who played for the Sheffield Steel Dogs, and I know he practiced with the Steelers before. He's a skilled player, and he gives them something a bit different, a bit extra.
Yeah, he's dangerous. He's got a lot of skill. You know, he's a smaller guy, but he shifts. He's very shifty. He moves well, and like I said, he's one of the leading scorers in the league. He's a good player.
Okay, they've also confirmed, the Hull Stingrays, the signing of Tom Squires from the Sheffield Steel Dogs on a full-time basis. So the Stingrays boosting their squad. Right, this is the one you've really been waiting for, isn't it? It was bout 2 of the games between the Coventry Blaze and the Belfast Giants. Sit back and enjoy.
So Saturday's game was a thriller. Sunday's couldn't be better, could it? Opening face-off, we have a fight. Who is it? It's Keefe, it's Olsen. 3 seconds, the clock stops and they go at it. In the white is Keefe, in the blue is Olsen. Getting their hands free, getting their shoulder pads free and everything. And they're now grappling. Olsen goes with the takedown. Keith goes round on top, and the linesmen step in. Both of them waving to the crowd. Bit of pantomime villain going on once more from both players. So that was a great start to the game to get the crowd buzzing. First goal of the night goes the way of the Coventry Blaze. A tip from Bileski. 1-0 Coventry then. Only 1:26 gone in that game. And it is 1-0 to the Blaze. It becomes 2-0. Guthrie and Bileski with the assists as Shute scores his 9th goal of the season. Belfast, well, they come back into the game. Great pass from Mason, setting up Clark. That's 2-1, still in the first period. In fact, at that point, we weren't even at the halfway point of the first period. And then Rycroft steps up from behind the net to level at 2-2 at 10:22. So, what a thrilling start to the game. Plenty more action to come. Now, you'll see maybe just in the corner of your screen an incident which sees Saturday night's hero, Brad Lieb, go down and then get back up again and have a word with referee Andy Carson. And what develops here as the play goes over that way is Lieb having a word, but he's stepped forward by the linesman. He's just stopped there, is Brad Lieb. But then Andy Carson doesn't like what he's saying and gives him the misconduct and throws him out of the game. So the hat-trick hero from Saturday night is out the game. You'll just see there the slash in the corner, and he's furious. So he's going to have no more part in this game. Not going to be the first player to leave the ice, I can tell you. Scramble in front of the net. Fournier scores his 7th of the year. 3-2 Belfast. Momentum swings their way. Now, again, stuff is going on. Sandrock is involved there. You can see him getting quite feisty. A number of Blaze players come around just to try and calm things down. Olsen was there too. More going on behind the net, which sees Hirsch get involved. He was to get a game misconduct for that one. So Hirsch is the next Blaze player. Tries to break his stick on the crossbar. Can't do so. Doesn't get that smashing effect. So he leaves the ice. And we're going to see backup Adam Goss have 45 minutes ice time in this game. He was to face 40 shots in that time. A busy night for him. So things didn't start well when Lloyd swept in his 3rd of the year to make it 4-2. So Blaze were really up against it at that point of the game. Now we see another fight. Keith against Olsen. It is there again. Round 2 for them. This one's pretty decent as well. Some rights from both of them. Uppercuts and undercuts from the two of them. Big long scrap. Goes on for a good while. But that was Olsen's 3rd fight. So he's out of the game. So 3 players lost, thrown out of the game for the Coventry Blaze. They were really up against it now, but they kept going. Dustin Cameron on the doorstep. A 1-goal game. Could they mount a comeback and get back into things? Certainly was going to be a tough one. A scramble in front of the net for the Blaze to try and clear, but they couldn't. So Toe notches in his 2nd right on the doorstep. 5-3, a bit more breathing space. And then Phillips, a wraparound for 6-3. Surely that is too much of a mountain for the Coventry Blaze to climb. But they kept on going. This all still before the midway point of the game. Cameron just passed it now at 30:04 on the power play. He makes it 6-4. Crazy game. Another goal just in front of the net for Clark. That becomes 7-4. Are you keeping up? Certainly a thriller. So a 2-goal game. Can there be another chance for the Blaze to get a couple of goals? Right on the doorstep there is Lieb. That is 7-5. That, of course, was a goal for Greg Lieb. And then the final goal of the night went to the Giants and went to Phillips to make it a thrilling game. Final score, Coventry 5, Belfast 8.
Wow. Entertaining, exciting, but amidst all of that, did the Coventry Blaze throw 2 points away against the Belfast team that were there for the taking?
Yeah, I think it's tough to analyze when you lose your starting goalie 15 minutes into the game. And, you know, had Hershey been in there the whole time, might have been a different result.
Yeah. Right off the bat, Olsen and Keith went at it. It was very much a change. I was at the Saturday game, and it was a fairly dull game, I thought, on Saturday. for Keith to go with Olsen right off the bat? Is that a change of attitude by Doug Christensen in getting that going? Because there was no sign of that on the Saturday game.
Yeah, I think Kiefer probably wanted to inject some life into his team there. They suffered the defeat the night before, and he came, fought probably arguably the toughest guy in the league, and as a captain, that's what he does. And like I said, it obviously sparked their team, and they got the win.
Doug will be happy, won't he? Because he's gone to Nottingham earlier in the year. He's picked up 3 points. He's gone to Coventry on a doubleheader. He's picked up 3 points, and he'd have been very, very comfortable with that situation before going into that weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have taken that if they offered it beforehand. So, like I said, that Belfast team, they don't lose very often, and if they do, they're still picking up points. They're extremely hard to catch when they get ahead of you in the standings.
Let's talk about Brad Lieb for a second, because he was the hero on Saturday night. He scores that hat-trick, plays extremely well. But the one incident we're going to have a look at is the incidence of him being kicked out of the game. He was the first of the 4 Coventry Blaze players to be ejected. This is the slash coming up. How did you see that? Because Paul Thompson put in supplementary discipline, and I don't think any further suspensions will come. There is a slash there, isn't there? But
yeah, there's a slash there, and you probably caught him in behind the knee there, and probably worth a penalty, but definitely not a suspension.
Hirsch has to go for that, does he? Third man in, game misconduct?
Yeah, and I think emotion probably piled over there, and Hershey trying to protect his guys. He probably wouldn't have done it in hindsight now, looking back, but like I said, it's he probably looked back and saw Stewart on Chalmers and decided to even it up a bit.
Ejner got kicked out in that incident as well, but this is the interesting one. 3 fights for Olsen to get kicked out. This is classed as the second fight. Is that a fight?
I mean, I don't know how you can class that as a fight, and most times it wouldn't have an effect, and it had an effect. Olsen gets kicked out of the game, and he's a big guy, and they're a big player on their team, especially after losing Ejner. It doesn't help to lose 2 D-men in any situation, and that's a wrong call.
Do you think the incident that happened the previous weekend and all the hoo-ha about what happened in Cardiff kind of gets into the officials, and subconsciously they think, let's just get rid of a problem here before it happens, and you know what, if I can get a chance of removing you for the early shower, I'm going to?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think they take a lot of what's happened in the past and they bring it into the game, and we've seen it in our games. Obviously they key on certain guys. Olsen is one of them, and it might be easier for the refs and linesmen to kick him out of the game, remove that threat. I don't like it. I think that every game should be called the way the game's going at that time. You should have no outside influences going into it.
Okay, well, let's take a run through then of all the results from the weekend that has just gone. We'll start off last Saturday, and the first of those 2 games between the Coventry Blaze and the Belfast Giants. That Lieb hat-trick saw the Blaze come out 5-4 on top. Fife won the Edinburgh Derby, 2-1 over the Edinburgh Capitals. The Clan 5, the Devils 7, and the Dundee Stars 3, the Sheffield Steelers 4. Flipping over to Sunday, that game we've just seen, the Coventry Blaze 5, the Belfast Giants 8, Hull with a 3-2 victory over the Flyers. A very important victory, you'll see why in a moment's time. Edinburgh 4-2 over Cardiff, and in the Challenge Cup Group B, the Sheffield Steelers with an overtime win against the Nottingham Panthers. So let's see how the 2 conferences and the eventual league table are forming up. Sheffield lead Belfast, Cardiff, Nottingham and Coventry. Sheffield having played 2 more games than any of the other teams. But tell me, the conference system doesn't work. The Hull Stingrays are at the top of their division. I know teams have got games in hand, but it shows it works because Hull now have something to write home about, don't they, Ryan? And something that they can sell by being at the top of their conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Hull's probably been at the top of the table for some time, and for them to go into that, they can take confidence when they go and play in their division that they are the leading team and they are their contenders.
There's how it all wraps up if you throw the 2 conferences in together, with Belfast leading the way on 23 points, Edinburgh holding everybody else up with 7. Now, our Elite League Player of the Month, and I happen to think that Max Faulkner should have won this award last month. He was outstanding. He's been brilliant, hasn't he, for the Cardiff Devils, but he's been voted the Elite League Player of the Month for this month, and he's a great acquisition for Cardiff and a great addition to our league.
Yeah, absolutely. He's so dangerous out there. He skates well. He shoots the puck extremely well. He's got a good nose for the net. He can get in the dirty areas, and every time we've played him, he's been on the score sheet, and he's definitely a big concern when you're coaching against him. Yeah,
we all like Faulkner, don't we, here on the Elite League Highlight Show. Well, you've seen enough goals, you've seen enough action. Why don't you take some of the action in yourself live at one of the Elite League games coming up this weekend? Here is a list of all the Elite League games that are coming up. Remember, there's no Sheffield, Belfast or Nottingham as GP are in Japan playing in the Olympic pre-qualification tournament. Good luck to all of them. But the games that are on, up in Edinburgh, the Capitals take on the Braehead Clan at 6 o'clock. Fife entertain the Dundee Stars. What a barn burner that will be in Kirkcaldy. And in Hull, the Stingrays take on the Coventry Blaze. On Sunday, the Dundee Stars entertain Edinburgh, Coventry at home to the Hull Stingrays, and the Cardiff Devils, well, they host the Fife Flyers in the Big Blue Tent at 6 o'clock start there. And you'll be able to see all the goals, all the action, this time next week on our highlight show, 11 p.m. on Sky Sports 4 next Friday. But if you're out on Friday night, you can see it on Saturday morning, a 7 a.m. repeat, and a further repeat at 12 p.m. midday on Saturday. Well, interesting time. GB have got a tough weekend, but the Sheffield Steelers don't actually get the weekend off because you're playing the Nottingham Panthers in a grudge match, a golf competition. What's all that about?
Yeah, it's a first time we've done it, I think, and it's just an opportunity for both clubs to get together and play a little golf, have a friendly competition, and raise some money for a great charity.
Corey Nelson versus Ryan Finnerty with 4 irons. I bet Simon Kirkham can't wait for the disciplinary reviews. Well, folks, that's the end of another edition. Keep your fingers crossed for Team GB out in Japan. Let's hope this time next week we have good news to bring to you on their progression in the Olympic qualification tournament. If you can take in a game this weekend, please do so. Until next week, good night.